another video. I want to do a quick video here talking about how I built my stock watch list, okay? My stock portfolio and build that thing up. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and we're going to talk through this. Won't be a terribly long video, but I want you guys to maybe help me with my stock purchases on this platform. Okay. I'm an ETF and index fund guy, but I've recently kind of delved into individual stock picking and checking out. And I developed a watch list, and I want to share this information with you guys, and you guys can help me out. I'm going to share my screen with you here real quick and show you what we're looking at here. So, and let me make myself a little smaller in the corner there. So, what I have here, guys, is I have my let's start off with my index ETF portfolio. I want to just kind of be transparent and show you guys what I have and in total. This is my ETF index fund list of ETFs and so forth, and kind of how I pick them and what I actually have over here. And then over here, in terms of stock strategy, I'm developing a strategy with a philosophy, with core beliefs. And here's my strategy 1 through 6. I look at some cloning and look at some super investors, 13Fs, to kind of begin my research, talking about risk tolerance and all that good stuff. So this is kind of the platform I'm following to start to build an individual stock portfolio with single stocks. Okay. We already got our ETFs over at Vanguard. We're doing our single stocks over at Charles Schwab. Now, in terms of stock watching, what stocks in particular that I'm watching, and I'll give you sort of a little reason about why I'm watching it and so forth. Right now, as we film this or record this, we're in the middle of the summer, right? So over here is where you have, and I'm sharing my screen. I hope you guys can still see. Yep, you can still see my screen. So I'm sharing with you the stocks that I'm watching. Okay. And I'm sharing, obviously, this is my own spreadsheet, didn't come from anywhere. I just made it up on my own as I was going along because I want to do this stock stuff right. Right. I always tell you guys, hey, make sure when you're buying a stock, you look at this and you look at that. So I want to say, hey, here's what I'm doing. And I'm showing you my overall spreadsheet that I actually work from. So these are the company stocks. These are their ticker symbols. This is what sector they're in, whether they're non-cyclical and cyclical. Now, I believe non-cyclical and cyclical matter because non-cyclical stocks are stocks that basically they're always needed, right? Food, clothes, Coca-Cola, Costco, these things are things that people always use no matter what. They're going to use energy, right? No matter what, if it's an oil company or what have you. The cyclical stocks are the tech stocks and the things that kind of can come and go depending on what's happening with the economy, right? Depending on what's happening out there, these macro factors that can actually affect stocks and affect companies. But people always need food. People always need energy. I also kind of break these down into growth and value. And you might say, well, where did all these stocks come from? I've got about 19 stocks. Well, not 19, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 19 stocks. So you're saying, where did these stocks come from? I've been reading, I've been researching. Again, I like to use what's called a cloning strategy, where I look at what the larger investors, the super investors that have over $100 million invested, whether they are individuals or if they are companies, right? Capital investment companies, et cetera, hedge funds, whatever they could be. Now, I don't like hedge funds too much, but you get what I'm saying. Large investors have to report on the form 13F every quarter, right? That's just an SEC rule. So because they do that, their stocks are out there. So I like to see what's out there. But another strategy besides cloning is I actually I eat at Chipotle like a lot and Kava like a lot, right? I get gas for my car, right? I also Canadian Pacific. There was a merger about 2 or 3 years ago with Kansas City Southern and another railway. And so I understand the importance of transportation. In terms of Microsoft and some of these tech stocks, these are things that I've been following and doing some research on. And so these are just companies that I'm watching right now, right? And so you also have the financial sector, and I kind of understand the financial sector. That's why Visa, MasterCard, even Moody's and JP Morgan and Citigroup are things that I'm looking at. So on my spreadsheet, you see I have the stock, the symbol, the sector, the value versus growth, because I personally want a good mixture between value and growth. And so in order to get that good mixture, I've mixed these things up. Now I can add to this list, guys. And if you know of a good stock and you've thought of a good stock and something that maybe I should look into in terms of research, in terms of future growth, future what the possible future earnings could be, you can let me know. You can just give me a shout and put it in the comments down below or something. And hey, I'll take a look at it because I'm out here fishing for stocks. But this right here is my stock watch list. Okay. And I'm going to show you this in more detail over here on Charles Schwab in just a second here. So, but I also have ER's earnings reports, and I'm in the process of filling this out, right? I've done all my research, but I haven't filled this out the whole way. And I'm also in the process of developing a stock checklist, right? So we'll talk about that on another video as we move along. So let me stop sharing this screen and let me move over to my Charles Schwab, my actual account. Look, I'm going to bring you guys into my actual account because I've transferred all of the watch list companies over to Schwab. And on Schwab, I have a watch list set up, sort of a customized watch list set up as well. So I'm going to share that with you guys real quick as well. Let me see if I can't find it real quick. Bada bing, bada bing. There it is right there. Okay. So you can probably see my account on Schwab. I've got a watch list. So all of the companies that you just saw in that last spreadsheet, they're over here. Here's my consumer staples, and I named them because when you're over on a brokerage account, and I'm in Charles Schwab, they allow you to name you can set up and customize your own watch list and all that good stuff. So I added all of those companies over to the watch list over on Charles Schwab. So there's the consumer staples from the previous spreadsheet you just saw. There's Chipotle, there's Cava, there's Coca-Cola, and there's Costco. These are on the watch list. Okay. And the beauty about setting up a watch list in your brokerage account, whether it's Vanguard or how Fidelity lets you set this up, if they allow you to, I'm not sure. But you can also look at earnings. You can also look at ratings, right? How are they being rated? Oh, what happened? I get booted out. I think I got booted out. Look at there. Oh man, I got to get back in. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull that back up. Give me 1 second. I don't know why I got booted out. That was weird. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like my session got timed out. Okay, give me a second here. I'm going to pull it up. Let's see here. And I had to stop sharing, so bear with me. Okay. Got our two-factor on. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Let me share my screen again. I think we're back up. Boop. All right, cool. All right, so we're back in there. So let's go back to consumer staples. As you see consumer staples, you can also look at, you can have, this list can be endless, right? You can put tons of them in there. I only have 4 in there right now in consumer staples that I'm watching. And so it gives you earnings, what's their next earnings date, right? It gives you ratings, how they're rated for by Morningstar, Argus, and Reuters. It also gives you, and also has a Schwab rating as well. It also gives you evaluations in terms of PE ratio, price to book, gives you current market cap, gives you their latest price, obviously. And we're after trading day today, so that's the end of the day price. How is this stock, such as Chipotle, ticker symbol CMG, compare it to or perform versus the S&P 500, right? If you look at Cava's currently 63% above year to date of the S&P 500, whereas Coca-Cola Company is negative 6.14% year to date in comparison to the S&P 500. It also gives you a tab for profitability. Now, there may be some things that aren't on these tabs that you might want to see from these companies, right? But it gives you profitability, 1 year, 5 year gives you EPS, earnings per share. It also gives you gains and losses, and you can customize this view. But the point is that this is the watch list from the previous spreadsheet that I carried over here, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So those two companies I had for energy, which was ExxonMobil and Chevron, these companies are here on my watch list, right? This is what I have on the watch list. Haven't purchased all these yet, and I'm going to show you what I have purchased here in just a moment, right? And I just started this journey about a month ago over on Patreon. So on Patreon, these videos are going up on Patreon, but maybe they might ultimately be released to everybody. But the point is, they'll start on Patreon. Where on Patreon with that group of people, hey, we're trying to. This is new, okay? In terms of this, I closed down the individual stocks I had over on Vanguard. I moved a couple of them over here, and I'm starting kind of from scratch. And I started with about $5,000 is what I started with, right? Roughly. And so I'm trying to grow this. And part of this, I said, call it experiment. Part of this growth process with these stocks is to try to grow this stock portfolio to $100,000 in the next 3 to 4 years, right? I say 3 to 4 years. I got to check back. I think it's 4 years, but I'm going to check back on my goal sheet in a bit and tell you. So that's the whole purpose. And it's only through, you know, it's a lot of dollar cost averaging I'm going to be doing, right? And I'm not going to be doing a lot of trying to time the market. I'm going to be dollar cost averaging into these stocks, these individual stocks. Now, again, I have a whole portfolio of ETFs already. This is sort of, I want to call it experimental, but we also want to make sure it grows, right? There's risks that we've identified, and I have on my sheet over there. And so there's risk involved. So I'm not just throwing money away here, but I am trying to, bring you guys along on this journey with me as I do some individual stock picking, since I've been such an ETF index guy really for quite a long time. So when we look at financial services, there's about six of them on my watch list, including Visa, American Express, MasterCard. And part of the reason and I've done research on all of these stocks before they make it to the watch list, right? I've done some research on all of these stocks before they make it to this point. They make it to the watch list, and I've done some pretty good research on them, especially the ones that I buy. And I'm going to show you what I've bought in just a moment here. So the beauty about this, though, again, earnings, ratings, valuations, profitability, gains and losses. You can also over here, you can right click and you can look at charts. You can look at, there's option. I'm not doing options right now, but you can look at news on each one of these. And of course, you can go out to Google and check out news on Visa and so forth. But earnings reports is one of the things I like to look at. And so the last earnings report, Visa just came out, by the way, a couple of days ago. But we got, let's see what's coming up. So this is the last. The next ones are coming up not till October for quite a few of these. There's one coming up in about a week. MasterCard has its earnings report coming out in a week. I like to see stocks around earnings reports because sometimes stocks dip down a little bit before earnings reports. Sometimes they dip down after earnings reports if there's a bad earnings report. So I like to kind of pay attention to stocks around earnings reports. So this tab is one I like to look at. And I'm new over here on Schwab, right? I usually do everything over on Vanguard, so I'm more familiar with that platform. So I'm learning the Schwab platform. I'm starting with $5,000, and I'm just getting going. The other one I looked at was some tech, the other sector, and I picked these sectors because these are sectors that I'm comfortable with, that I understand, that I have some experience in. Obviously, I'm not a big tech guy, but at the same time, I work with a lot of tech in behind the scenes of YouTube and of these videos that I do. So I sort of understand tech a little bit. So next earnings report coming up for Broadcom. A lot of these guys are coming up here shortly. Super Micro Computers coming up. Microsoft is coming up. So a lot of these companies have their earnings reports coming up in the tech space. And we know that tech, as we speak, tech has been sort of down. And it's been up for 10 years and it's been down sort of in the last few weeks or so. So the other sector that I have on my watch list is transportation. I've only got one particular firm right now on there, and that's Canadian Pacific, which is a railway, right? A railway company. And I like to have a few companies under each of them so that we can do some comparisons and so forth, because I think that's important, right? So, what do I currently have? What positions do I currently have? I'm going to bring that up right now for you guys. Now, NVIDIA, I already have a position in NVIDIA. In fact, I think I bought 3 or 4 shares of NVIDIA today when it dipped down. Today, it had a nice, strong dip. And Canadian Pacific, I did buy a share or two of that. Let's see here. Taiwan Semiconductor, from the company TSMC. There's some Broadcom there. There's some Microsoft. I bought 1 share of Microsoft today, earlier today. Visa, bought a share of that. Bought a share or 2 shares, I think, of ExxonMobil, and a couple of shares of Coca-Cola. And let's see here. I bought some Kava. I did buy some Kava. I eat at Kava. I like their numbers. I like what I see. I do see them kind of overbuilding a little bit in the last year, because they just can't. Kava just went public in 2023, or about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and so they're a new company. That's a new publicly traded company. So and they've got it. And the beauty of this is you can look at the days range and you can look at the 52-week range, and you see that currently Kava it started at $29 a year ago, right? 52 weeks ago, Kava was $29 per share. It's $78 per share now. It peaked in the year, 52 weeks, at 98 bucks. So I kind of caught it down a little bit. Obviously, based on fundamentals, I'm hoping that Kava is going to be one of those companies that ends up like Chipotle, right? I also picked up some shares of Chipotle as well, because it went down today as well. So a lot of these stocks were sort of on sale if you look at month over month of these companies and where they've gone in the last month or so. I already had some Toyota. They weren't on my watch list. I already owned some Toyota, and I just kept the Toyota that I had and brought it over. Got rid of some shares and brought it over from Vanguard, along with AMD and along with Natural Grocers and along with NVIDIA, right? I bought NVIDIA before it split a while back. So, and I just carried those over to the new Charles Schwab account. So this is how I'm managing buying individual stocks. I'm taking them off the spreadsheet. I'm initially putting them on the spreadsheet, and then I'm bringing and carrying them over to Charles Schwab, over to here in my watch list. And I'm going to be adding to these different watch lists you see here, right? I'm going to be adding to consumer staples. I'm going to be adding to energy and financials and tech and all that good stuff as we go along. Now, there's other sectors that are not in my watch list. I chose these specific sectors because these are the sectors that I wanted, that I feel comfortable investing in. See, the whole thing is that this has to be sort of, customized to what you're comfortable with. What is your wheelhouse? And so for me, those are my wheelhouse items that I feel comfortable with. So I just want to share this with you guys and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is where we are over here on our platform over here, but also, in general, if you got, I got to say this again, I got to say this one more time because it's really, really important. If you guys know of any stock, you say, hey, man, you might want to check out this stock. Hey, let me know. That's what we're doing over on our platform, Patreon. We're saying, hey, I'm building this. And if you guys can help me along the way and I can help you along the way, we can sort of build that thing together. So I wanted to have this conversation to talk specifically about what's on my watch list and talk specifically about the companies that I'm checking out and taking a look at and watching that are on that I've moved over into my actual list of companies to really, really be focused on, right? So as you saw in the beginning of the video, I have specific tabs that I'm working from on my spreadsheet. Let me just make sure you guys saw that. I want to bring that back up again real quick. Let's see here. Okay. So I have my index fund ETF tab that I'm dollar cost averaging into, right? With quite a number of large cap and large cap and mid cap and some sector specific ETFs and index funds. Actually ETFs, right? I have one broad base index fund, and that's the VFIAX. But there's sort of my strategy, what I look for when I'm buying these, and I'm just dollar cost averaging in these, right? Then I have a individual stock strategy that I'm looking at. I'm kind of regurgitating, but I'm kind of just summarizing what we're doing over here. That's over on Charles Schwab. I've got my core beliefs, my philosophy. You can create a spreadsheet like this for yourself. Part of my philosophy is looking at the super investors, right? Looking at the Christopher Davises and the Monish and the Bill Ackman and the Dave Abrams, looking at these guys and seeing what they're buying, but not just copying their portfolios, using what they're buying as a starting point. And the website Datarama, DATAROMA.com is a great place to get started where you can see what these super investors are investing in. Keeping in mind that it's always about 30 to 45 days behind because every quarter these super investors have to file a 13F form with the SEC. By the time that information makes it to these websites that are out there, could be Value Cider or datarama.com. Before it gets to those websites, there's some delay there, right? But this is part of the strategy: buy and hold, looking for moats, looking for stock splits, etc. And then we talk about some of the more detailed fundamentals that we're looking for in terms of revenue and free cash flow and all that good stuff, debt, etc. So this is the main tab I'm looking at. But then we also have this stock checklist that I'm developing. I mentioned it earlier to you guys, didn't really go into detail, but we're developing the stock checklist for myself for when I look at these individual stocks, specifically what am I looking at? And then, of course, those are the companies I showed you earlier that are transferred over to the Schwab website. So listen, my thing was to just let you guys in on the back door a little bit, let you guys in behind the scenes with a little bit of transparency so you can see what I'm actually investing in and see what I'm actually doing out here in terms of individual stocks, right? Because I just don't want to have these conversations on YouTube and not actually be participating in what we're talking about as well at the same time, be it ETFs and index funds, or be it, my TSP with the federal government, or be it with these particular single stocks. And again, if you have some suggestions, do me a favor and drop those down in the comments below, and let's take a look at it. Let's have a conversation. Maybe we can do some videos specifically looking at some of the earnings and some of the revenue and some of the all this good stuff from individual stocks. We'll get there as well. So I appreciate you guys being here as always. I hope you got something of value out of the video. Hit that like button if you're watching this down the road and you're watching it on YouTube. Otherwise, guys, feel free to drop a comment. Hey, the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. Take good care of yourself, guys, and we'll holler at you later. All right. Peace.